Hi, I'm Kesenya and welcome to Guiding Star Astrology. I'm your Astro Weather Girl, here with this week's Astro Weather Report. I'm going to show you how the stars are going to affect your life this week. In my videos, I use both Vedic and traditional Western techniques with tropical astrology, not sidereal astrology. I also use the traditional system of whole sign astrology for my analysis. You can use this video to the best of your advantage by listening to the introduction to understand what the week holds for you, and then going to the timestamps for your sun, moon, and rising sign to get a more personalized forecast for the week ahead. Astrology is not designed to scare you. It's designed to give you information so that you know what the good and the challenging energies in the week ahead will be, and you can therefore consciously work with them to the best of your advantage. Remember, knowledge is power. Now, there are scammers about, and so if you should receive a message from me on any platform requesting your money for a reading, know that it is a scam. Report them immediately. And now settle in and let's see what the astral skies have in store for the week ahead. Well, hello, my beautiful friends in YouTube land. It's so good to be with you. I want to empower you through the tool of astrology this week, where we're looking at the astral energies that are playing out from the 4th to the 11th of November. And so without further ado, let's dive right into what is happening in the astral skies. Firstly, well, there's so much happening this week, so hang on to your hats and let's go. 4th of November, we've got Venus in an opposition to Neptune. So here is Neptune in Pisces and here is Venus in Virgo, and they're making an opposition there at 25 degrees. Now, this is not an easy energy for relationships. It's not an easy energy for finances either. Now, if you've been struggling with these things prior to the 4th of November, then this energy isn't going to help things. Just heads up on that one. Confusion is also a hallmark of Neptune's hard aspects. So close your purse strings and don't go spending. Don't message that new lover. Put that beauty treatment on hold. Don't go on that internet dating site. Anything to do with Venus, I would postpone. Anything that's ruled by Venus, love, finances, spendings, beauty treatments, put them on hold until after this energy dissipates, because it can cause confusion and misunderstandings, misinterpretations, and problems in that regard. Be careful also of your interactions with others as well, especially young women who are ruled by Venus, because this energy on the 4th of November is really a trigger for people taking advantage of our caring and compassionate natures. Deception is in the air, so do be careful about how you interact and how much you believe about what's going on around you, in interactions with other people and what they say. What is open to us, though, under this energy on the 4th of November? And this is guilt-free. It's the chance to enjoy refined art, music, food, dancing, glamour. And if you can enjoy all those things without spending a penny, so much the better. So open yourself up to those sort of Neptunian, Venusian combination things and do it without spending as much. And you will be, living the dream on the 4th of November. Now, also on the 4th of November, and this is something that we're going to be talking about in the All Signs Breakdown, is Saturn down here in Pisces finally turning direct. That's a D, in case you can't understand. D for direct. No more Saturn retrograde for the next 7 months, my friends. So enjoy the sensation of things starting to change and starting to move forward, at least a little bit. What does Saturn rule in your chart? What houses does Saturn have governance of? Well, this is where you're most going to feel the difference, the change in energy, the momentum, getting a redirectioning. When Saturn's retrograde, it tends to confine itself too much, or sometimes it can go to the other polarity actually and have no boundaries at all. So we've got way too many boundaries or way too little boundaries, usually too little when Saturn's retrograding in Pisces. And, there's very little middle ground. And, we need restrictions, we need boundaries, or else, everything just floods out of our life or floods into our life. So it's a healthy thing to have boundaries, and there's either too much or too little of it when Saturn's retrograde. So now that time is over. No, we've got much more balance with the boundaries that are in our life. So turning direct, Saturn turning direct, will possibly mean changes in the capacity out there in the world, in the mundane influence, the capacity of authority figures to impact our lives. So if there's been any boundaryless rulership scenarios, they can be brought back into check now. And when we look at the state the world's in, my God, don't we need that? So hopefully we see some boundaries coming into play in regard to the mundane experiences, the wars that are going on, and the fractiousness, and the politics, identity politics that we see playing out, that's just foul everywhere. So hopefully Saturn going direct can start to bring more boundaries and limits to that stuff that's just seemed out of control over the last little while. Well, at least a little bit, let's hope. Then on the 5th of November, we've got Mercury in an opposition to Uranus. So Mercury's down here in Scorpio opposing Uranus on the 5th, and this is happening at 21 degrees. And whoosh, this influence is faster than a speeding bullet. Your mind and your nervous system go into overdrive with this connection, and it can leave you feeling a bit like you're caught in a whirlpool, a bit overwhelmed, shaky. Some people might even get headachy as a result of this energy. And if you do, I would advise you to take magnesium to support you under this influence. Now, also, it's not a time for getting down to it with contracts or deals, because they'll tend to bite in the long run if you sign contracts on the 5th of November because of this opposition. Similarly, electronics can be your kryptonite. So again, don't go buying electronics on the 5th of November because of this connection here. Now, it won't be the case for everybody, but especially if people have planets around 21 degrees, you're going to feel this bite of Uranus Mercury opposition, perhaps more than others, and they're just a couple of examples of the way you might experience it. So instead, my friends, what we should do with this energy, this opposition energy, is direct our thinking into some fresh ideas. Come up with some new concepts, new plans. You might try your hand at some sort of bohemian writing. Mercury is writing, Uranus is anything that is bohemian. You might be watching some alternative documentaries about alternative healing or scientific progress, that sort of thing. Mercury is to consume information, Uranus is the science and the alternative. So you might be getting involved in some of that, and that's a really good way to channel this energy for the best use. You might find that you're having conversations with very unusual people. Mercury is conversations, Uranus is unusual people, eccentric people, brilliant but really left of center people. Uranus also, I believe, has connections to conspiratorial, like rebelliousness. So you might be having conversations about those topics as well. But you also might find in doing so, and I encourage you to do so, you might just find that your perceptions are challenged in a healthy way. Things that can, liberate you, set you free, help you find your authenticity and your truth. So be open-minded about the conversations and interactions that you have on the 5th of November. Keep the energy light, keep the energy breezy, and keep it fun where you can. And if you need to get your Superman costume on to do so, then go for it. Now, November the 7th is when we've got the next energy playing out this week, and that is a Venus energy as well. Venus in a trine to Pluto down here in Capricorn. This is happening at 28 degrees. Kapow, like a blow from Batman. Venus trine Pluto can catapult us into the path of a new lover with all the sexual passion and energy of the Caped Crusader and Catwoman. It's a transformative energy, and our relational situation can change as a result of this energy. Whether we're in a relationship, whether we're forming a new relationship, changes on the cards relationally. It can also change our finances, because Venus rules money and Pluto is the god of ancient god of great wealth, not just wealth and prosperity, but great wealth, billionaire type wealth. So that for some people, especially if you've got planets around 28 degrees of either Virgo or Capricorn, you might be destined to see some change in your financial situation as well. Some of us might also feel a bit of a shift in the strength of our intuition too. Now, this is an energy that can, for some, bring sudden windfalls, helpful negotiations with powerful people, increased desires. Your desire realm is amped up, and big changes in your appearance can take place. These are all possible as a result of this combination of energies. So do you have planets around 28 degrees of Virgo? Well, don't underestimate the power and potential of this benevolent interaction that happens twice a year. So hang on to your hats and enjoy, my friends. Also on the 7th of November, we've got another Mercury interaction, and this time it's a Mercury trine to Neptune. Neptune is here, so all the planets are getting up into the latter degrees of signs, and therefore we've got all our big guns like Pluto, Neptune, Uranus is even moving into the latter degrees of Taurus. And so we've got a lot more interaction happening with these big gun latter degree planets. And this time it's between Mercury and Neptune on the 7th. So how good does it feel when, you're in that zone where the creative juices are just flowing and you're moving through life in a sort of a dreamy, sort of blessed, magical fashion. And there's music on every street corner and messages from spirit are coming through loud and clear. Well, that's the energy of this interaction. And don't you just love those sorts of days? This day, the 7th of November, because of this interaction, will feel like it's fashioned straight out of heaven just for you, combined with this lovely energy from Pluto and Venus, and it's just going to be a winner. The 7th of November, what a day. So creative projects can flourish, spiritual endeavors can really blossom like the apple trees in the spring, and your imagination can sprout new ideas in the soil of a very happy, contented mind. So enjoy, dance, and be blessed, my friends. 7th of November is probably the highlight day for us all this week. On the 8th of November, Venus here, I'm not going to draw it on the board, but Venus is going to move out of Virgo and into Libra. And with Venus in her home territory, relationships, could lighten up now. Because Venus is in debilitation in Virgo. Here in Pisces, opposite Virgo, Venus is exalted. So when Venus is in Virgo, she's very debilitated. Finally, she leaves Virgo, and it's been quite some time that she's been sort of plodding her way through. And then she moves into Libra, where she rules in her home territory. Phew! This is an energy, or there's an energy of gentility and kindness in our approach to life, in our approach to our romantic interactions. Libra is an accommodating sign, and we might find ourselves carrying that accommodating quality to the forefront in our love, in our relationships with other women, under this influence for the next roughly 30 days while Venus moves through Libra. There might be some increased opportunities for romance if you've got certain alignments in your chart that support that, but Venus at her strength here can bring relationships your way. You may also be exposed, if you like, to more intelligent conversations. This can be a hallmark of Libra. Libra is a highly intelligent sign, and so you might be having more intelligent conversations, particularly if you connect with anybody new as a potential lover, a potential relationship. It might start with an intelligent conversation, a dialogue that leaves your mind just buzzing and sparking, So it can be very intellectually focused beginnings to relationships. Now, if you're also artistically inclined, you'll probably be inspired over the next few days, 30 days or so, to produce some of your better work during Venus's transit here. And, be forewarned, there's good and bad, shadow and light in every sign. Be forewarned, spending money on high-end, sophisticated items like clothing, art, fancy dining, and that sort of thing could entice you this month, because Venus is moving through here. So keep your eye on the budget, keep your eye on the wallet as well, so you don't end up with regrets. 10th of November, we've got Mercury changing signs, and Mercury's over here at Scorpio. Mercury's moving into Sagittarius on the 10th of November. So positive thinking and freedom of thought is what Mercury and Sagittarius is all about now. So get ready for your communications to become more optimistic, more positive, and what a relief. It can be pretty intense having Mercury in Scorpio. Our thinking, goes down a lot of rabbit holes, and we explore and intensely pursue a lot of topics, which can be very enlightening while it lasts, but now we need a bit of a break. We need to lighten up a bit here. So we can expect our conversations to be interesting and mind expanding, but less heavy, less sort of doom and gloom about the state of humanity. We're willing to debate our point of view when Mercury is in Sagittarius, and especially if such discussions serve the purpose of growing our own understanding. So it's not about being a devil's advocate, but it's about, talking with other people to enlighten and expand your worldview. Some of us, while Mercury is here in Sagittarius, will receive new visions for the future and get new ideas, light bulb moments that are going to excite us. Don't let other people throw cold water on your ideals, my friends. There's plenty of people in the world who love to do that sort of thing. Hang on to your visions, hang on to your ideals as Mercury transits through Sagittarius. Embrace your big picture ideas and fully plan and strategize to achieve them under this energy. Sagittarius is a sign that's very future oriented and looking to the future. It's ruled by Jupiter after all, and it's you think about the archer. I talk about this scenario, this imagery a lot, but it's the archer pointing his arrow off into the distance. It's very much the energy of looking to what is to come. So I encourage you, use this Mercury planning energy to strategize for your future, believing. Sagittarius is to believing that you can achieve your vision and your goal and your dream if you strategize the appropriate steps to get you there. You can do it, my friends. Enjoy this Mercury in Sagittarius energy. Then on the 11th of November, we have the end of the full moon or the lunar eclipse activation period ending. So let me just quickly explain what that is. There is a period of time before and after each eclipse, and we've just had a set of 2 eclipses. I'm talking about the full moon lunar eclipse. The end of that activation period occurs on the 11th of November. So anything that's happened in the sort of the week before the lunar eclipse up until the 11th of November, that is a time where you might see like a full running of the events of the next 6 months related to what this eclipse that's just happened is going to bring about. So after the 11th of November, it's not considered to be eclipse activation energy. It's just part of life and part of the usual transits. But anything up until the 11th of November, any big event, any news, as I spoke about in my last 2 videos on the eclipses, check them out if you haven't done so already. Any of those events that have manifested in your life are likely to be sort of, neon signs for what's going to come up in your life in the next 6 months or so. After the 11th of November, it doesn't really count. The activation period has come to a conclusion. So my friends, that's the energy playing out this week. Can I just say, don't forget to like this video, to share and to subscribe to this channel in order to go into the November competition to win a solar return report through Guiding Star Astrology. You have to do that. You have to like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment in the comment section so that I know that you've done so in order to go into the draw to win. And I give one away every month. So please join me for that competition and let me know that you've entered. And the big news is, before we jump into the all signs breakdown, the big news is I'm returning to doing readings. Now, I haven't done readings for about a year because I've been devoting my time to producing the intermediate level of the Royal Stars Academy. Check it out at Thinkific if you haven't done so already. The link's in the description below. But I've been really putting my all into creating the best possible Bachelor of Arts in astrology that a person can undertake. So that's where my energy has been, and I haven't done any readings, but for the next 6 months I'm going to return to doing readings because I don't want to lose touch, don't want to get rusty with how I read a horoscope and with what I can offer you, my beautiful clients, Patreons, and YouTube viewers here. So if you've been waiting to have a reading with me, now is your big chance. All you've got to do is head to the readings page at the website link in the description box below. Like I said, I'm taking readings for the next 6 months only, and then I'm going to get stuck into the next level of the Royal Stars Academy and producing that for all my beautiful students out there. So check that out. Come have a reading with me. I look forward to exploring your horoscope for you. And now let's move through all signs. We've got we've got Saturn turning direct this week, and that's happening on the 4th of November. So that's going to be a biggie. We're going to start with Pisces. Saturn is usually retrograde for roughly around 5 months of the year. So it's not an unfamiliar energy, but when he goes direct, things change, the energy shifts. We find that we might have a new duty and responsibility to fulfill. We find that this realm of the chart where Saturn is turning direct becomes where we need to show that we are masters of compassion, if you like, where we need to put in hard work to achieve our highest ideals. Whatever house it happens to be in is where we need to put the hard work in to achieve our highest ideals, and where we're putting new boundaries in place for our life. So let's have a look with Pisces as the first house, my friends. Well, when Saturn goes direct in the first house, sometimes it doesn't alleviate the difficulties that we might be experiencing in achieving in the world. Unless Saturn is particularly well placed in your natal chart and particularly well placed from your moon placement, then it can still be hard to achieve in the world. Like, you're putting your best out there, you're giving it your all, you're doing all the marketing you need to do, you're doing all the creativity you need to do, you're doing all the intellectual pursuits you need to do to achieve in the world, and nothing seems to be flourishing, nothing seems to be coming of it. Well, I'm afraid that doesn't change so much while Saturn is transiting the first house. That's just a Saturn in the first house type of energy. So the change in direction of Saturn isn't going to alter that greatly. I'm Pisces rising, and I have to say I've been working harder than I've ever worked, but getting lesser results. And that's just the way it goes with Saturn in the first house. It's more about introspection and self-development. So that is what has been manifesting for me while Saturn has been in my first house, is an understanding of myself, an understanding of my past, a releasing of old karmic energy, Saturn, and moving more into, I guess, a state of peace and confidence with who I am. So it's much more internal. And that's where Saturn moving direct is going to really magnify things, help things to grow, help things to flourish, is this introspective side and the self-development side. So there's a need to be patient still, my Pisces friends. What we start to establish now, it may not bear fruit until Saturn leaves Pisces, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't be working towards it. We need to have a long-term vision. We need to keep establishing a good foundation with our projects, our goals, our dreams. Keep working, keep on. With Saturn turning direct, keep on knowing that the benefit will come in the long run, and you're establishing a strong foundation for the future while Saturn is now moving direct. When Saturn's retrograding, we can find that things just go wrong. Like, we're putting all this work and effort in, and nothing's coming of it, but nothing's sort of flourishing for the future either. Now that Saturn's direct, you might not see any results, but know that your efforts are going to manifest in the long term. Saturn is the long-term, long-range view. We might feel very compelled to honor our calling and purpose now, no matter the cost. We become, when Saturn goes direct in the first house, we become more responsible for our destiny. We take on the duties needed, and we shoulder our burdens to achieve the long-range vision that we may have. So expect that you're going to feel more determined, more in your calling, more in your purpose, more prepared to do the long haul, like I said, no matter the cost. One of the quotes that David and I love is from, I believe, the Mahabharata, is to do what's right no matter the consequences. And that's very much a Saturn in the first house thing. You've got to follow your calling, follow your purpose, do what your heart knows is right, regardless of what the outcome is, and keep going with it. I believe it will pay off and will bring back karmic reward for you in the long term. This is a good time now that Saturn's direct in the first house to start a new exercise program, to start a new diet. I look at moon phases. I talk about diets and exercise in my moon reports on the Patreon page. And so you can join Patreon if you want to and hear my moon reports to understand the moon phases and exercise and diet. But Saturn Direct is also a good time to start a new exercise, a new diet program, and to focus on taking care of your health, your body, your image. And whatever changes you make now are going to be lasting and enduring. So it's not just a crash diet that you go on. Saturn turning direct can give you the inspiration to start a whole new eating plan that lasts you the next 30 years. You just get into the habit of healthy eating. So be conscious of what you're changing and how you're changing, because it's going to stick with you for a long time and hopefully bring benefits and blessing for you for a long time. So think about yourself in 30 years' time. Is your exercise routine going to be, something you can maintain for the next 30 years? And look for ways to honor your body and your health with Saturn turning direct. We also find when Saturn turns direct in the first house that we start to really grow in maturity. Saturn's a planet of maturity. Saturn's a planet of being an adult, growing up. And here in the house of you, it's all about Pisces being mature. So there might be more opportunities to express your maturity and responsibility. There might be challenges that cause you to grow up fast and to, enhance and develop your own maturity levels. But it's a good thing, it's a good thing to grow into maturity. We can't be, leaning on other people or, living in immaturity our whole lives long. This is a healthy process. Just a couple of pieces of advice for when Saturn is transiting direct through your house. And for many of us, we're going to have, as Saturn moves direct over the next 7 months, Saturn will be crossing, for some people, the ascendant degree. So this is extra important for people whose ascendant is going to be transited by direct motion Saturn in the next 7 months. We need to avoid overwork. Saturn's a workaholic planet, and in the first house you can take it too far, to you burn out, to your stress levels go through the roof, to the point where you're a breaking point, nervous breakdowns. So be conscious, have plenty of rest, get plenty of relaxation, take regular holidays. Pisces, you know how to do this. Make sure you schedule regular time out and rest so that you don't succumb to Saturnian stress and fatigue. Also, for many Pisces people, in the next 7 months while Saturn's direct, some of you might find that you lose weight because Saturn is to restrict, and this is the body here. So the body might be restricted in some way, like, we all know that when Jupiter crosses the ascendant, we can balloon up and get big because Jupiter rules fat. Well, Saturn's the opposite. Saturn reduces things, makes things smaller. Saturn rules things that are smaller. So you may lose weight. Now, I'm excited about that because I'm always I'm Jupiter in the first house, always conscious of ending up rotund, but I'm looking forward to things being a little easier in that regard, not having to worry so much while Saturn moves direct across my ascendant in the next 7 months. Yay. We also, when Saturn is moving direct in our first house, we find that we have to work harder to avoid the signs of aging. Now, that might mean, going and, doing certain exercises or face yoga or getting certain procedures done or whatever if aging is a concern for you. But we need to generally work hard, Saturn, to avoid the signs of aging, Saturn, in the first house of the physical body. So I would encourage you in that regard, my friends, get involved in things that keep your limbs subtle, like dancing, join a dance group or something like that, or swim, things that keep you supple, things that, make sure you drink plenty of water, moisturize. Saturn is a drying effect. So, do all those things, look into what Saturn rules, and do all the things to work hard and avoid the signs of aging. And you'll be willing to do so with Saturn moving through the first house. More willing to make sure that you avoid those lovely influences of Saturn that cause us to age. Now, I want to just say before I move on to the next sign, big news, my friends. I'm returning to doing readings over the next 6 months, basically while Saturn's direct in my first house, after which I'm going to turn my focus back to creating the advanced level of the Royal Stars Academy. So if you've been wanting a reading with me, the next 6 months is your big chance. Head to the readings page and the website link in the description and jump in the queue to get a reading from me. All right, Aries rising, Aries sun, Aries moon people. Saturn is turning direct in your 12th house. Now, this is such an interesting placement for Saturn to be going direct. I found when I experienced Saturn in my 12th house for 2.5 years that Saturn's restrictive influence was completely dissolved. You know, I felt freer, I felt less restrained. I felt like life was working for me, even though externally there were a lot of blockages. Saturn moving through here was so interesting. It was at the time of lockdowns in the state I live in Australia. And yet inwardly, within me, in terms of my own dreams and goals, my sense of happiness, I felt unrestricted. So it's a very, very interesting time. Physically restricted, but inwardly freed. So generally what we would take from that is that when Saturn turns direct in the 12th house, there can be a dissolving of the Saturn influence within you. You know, you can feel like psychological boundaries that you've put on yourself, you know, and oftentimes we self-sabotage, you know, our own lives and our own happiness. Those psychological boundaries that you've put on yourself, they're released. And you stop self-sabotaging and you stop, you know, living with a restricted mindset. So it's very psychological, not external as I just described, but much more inward and psychological. The dissolving of those personal restrictions and blockages can happen now that Saturn's direct in your 12th house, Aries. We become more aware of the attachments that we've had that have blocked the flow of life. In my life, when I had this experience of Saturn moving direct in the 12th house, I realized how much my attachment to where I'd grown up was keeping me from exploring, you know, who I am in the world and what I could accomplish and what I could be. And so I let go of the need to, you know, I had in my mind that I would always end up moving home to my small town and, you know, go back there when I could to live my life out. And during that Saturn transit, I realized that that was holding me back from all the magic that awaited me in the world. So I let go of that attachment to moving back home at some stage in the future. So we become aware of those attachments. That's just one example. It could be an attachment to a person, could be attachment to a place, could be an attachment to a certain behavioral pattern that you've got or a certain idea about career. Anything that's blocking life from flowing in for you, you'll become aware of it, but it's up to you to change and move beyond that attachment. So you develop an inner freedom now that Saturn's going direct. Inner freedom through detachment. You don't become so invested in the external reality and you live more from within. And that's quite beautiful and quite exciting, I must say. We can also face the truth about our life and the truth about the world that we're living in. My God, are we all waking up to the truth lately? You know, but it's a much more personal thing I'm talking about, I guess, here, where you're confronting your inner demons, you know? I've kind of given you a couple of examples about the things that are self-sabotaging, the things that are holding us back. We also receive, when Saturn goes direct in the 12th house, the spiritual consequences of our life journey so far. This is karma. Saturn is karma in the house that relates to our past. So if you've, you know, sought kindness, sought compassion, sought justice for yourself and for others, then the spiritual consequences of your life journey so far could be quite beautiful. Blessing can flow by Saturn turning direct in the 12th house. If you've behaved in an opposite way, where it's all me, it's all about me, I'm going to stomp all over everybody else, I'm going to climb that corporate ladder no matter what the cost is to the community or the world around me, you know, those kinds of self-oriented attitudes, you get the karma for that. when Saturn goes direct through the 12th house. So it can be quite difficult for a lot of people, especially people who do not have a spiritual orientation. They can really, things go wrong, they receive their comeuppance, and it's like, oh, reality bites. So it's a time, my Aries friends, of endings. It's a time of resolving things in your life, tying up loose ends and concluding things. It's not a time for new beginnings when Saturn moves through the 12th house. It's a time for wrapping up all those loose ends, getting ready for the new beginning that's coming in the future when Saturn will transit across your ascendant in the sign of Aries in a few years' time. So new beginnings are hard to manifest, but it's all about ending old attachments, ending old belief systems, wrapping things up and tying up those loose ends, as I said. So that is what is in store for you over the next 7 months while Saturn goes direct in your 12th house. And the big news is, my friends, I'm returning to doing readings over the next 6 months before I return to focus on the advanced level of the Royal Stars Academy and preparing that. So if you've been wanting a reading with me, now's your big chance. Head to the readings page at the website, link in the description below, jump in line and get a reading with me before I call it quits in 6 months' time and return to focusing on my teaching program. So I'll catch you there, Aries friends, ready to do a reading for you. Taurus rising, Taurus sun and Taurus moon people. Well, Saturn is moving direct in your 11th house, Pisces, up here. So this is very much an energy, a shift now where you're going to be very keen on exploring what it is in life that's going to give you a sense of fulfillment. This is what, discovering what our dreams and goals is all about. And the 11th house has to do with dreams and goals. Saturn wants you to find that answer. And moving direct is going to give you the chance, going to give you opportunities to explore what fulfills you now. You might also be reconsidering what your goals and for life and your desires for life actually are, and redefining them, restructuring what those goals and dreams are, making changes when necessary. Saturn wants you to build on a solid foundation, and if your dreams and goals haven't been, solidly grounded, if they're not realistic, if they're pie in the sky, Saturn's going to sort of say, okay, come on, you Taurus people, let's put some effort in, let's make it realistic, let's make it work, let's strategize this. So there's some restructuring and reconsidering of your goals that might happen over the next 7 months while Saturn moves direct here. So you could ask yourself, what do I want to achieve in my life on Earth by my existence here on the planet? You want to ask, where do I see myself in my, retirement years, sitting there, looking back on my life? What do I want to say I accomplished, I did, I strove for, I achieved, I brought into being? Think about the long-term plan, the long-range view here, my beautiful Taurus friends, and start strategizing towards that end goal now. Saturn moving direct really is quite a blessing, actually, because it allows you to work with opportunities now in the 11th house rather than obligations. So while Saturn is retrograding, we feel duty bound, we feel kind of heavy, things moving slower, harder to achieve our goals and dreams. Now we find Saturn moving direct, okay, we've got some momentum and opportunities can come our way. We're still grounded, we're still realistic, but the opportunities come, we can recognize them, and we can take some strides forward. Another thing that can happen with Saturn moving direct in the 11th house is that we restructure our friendships and our group associations. So that for some of you might mean that you loosen the reins or let go of friends now. But friends that are of true high quality, Saturn is high quality things, friends that are of true high quality will remain. And anything else that's superfluous, like the dross that's sort of burnt off gold, will disappear. And you'll keep what's worthwhile. And that goes for group associations as well. Maybe you've been a member of a country club or something, or some group organization, and you just think, look, this is a waste of my time and my money and my effort because I just never socialize there. So you let it go. Saturn helps you to restructure and reorganize your group connections and group associations. So friendships and groups will tend to leave when Saturn goes direct here, when they're no longer of value in your life. I remember when I had Saturn transiting my 11th house, I really, really slimmed down my friends group to only the core people who actually supported me or who I really felt a bond with, because I was just so focused on building my website, building my business, creating my YouTube channel at that time. And I just didn't have the time, space, or energy to be, flitting with a whole lot of social butterfly connections. I wanted the core group, and that was enough. And that tends to happen. We get very focused on our goals and dreams when Saturn moves direct through the 11th house, and we refine our friendship groups in accordance with the time that we have to do, because we're so busy focused on our goals and dreams. And finally, Taurus, our thinking becomes very idealistic and visionary while Saturn moves direct here. We start to, like I said, we're grounded, but we have dreams and goals that we are willing to work hard for and put energy and effort into, big vision that we're moving towards. So that's really the crux of it for the next 7 months, my Taurus friends. And I just want to give you the big news. I'm returning to doing readings for the next 6 months, after which I'm going to turn my focus back to producing the next level of the Royal Stars Academy. So if you've been wanting a reading with me, you've got this period of Saturn direct in Pisces to jump on board, book in, get in line to have a reading with me. Head to the readings page at the link in the description below and come and have a reading with me. Thank you, Taurus. Gemini rising, Gemini sun, and Gemini moon people. Well, I might just hold that straight there. As like typical Gemini people, you're going to go for a bit of a walk. Gemini's a bit restless. We have Saturn turning direct, if you're a Gemini rising sun or moon person, in the 10th house. What does this mean? Well, it means for the next 7 months, while Saturn moves direct through the 10th house, it's an excellent time for rewards and promotions, especially if you've been working hard. And if you can honestly say you've been working hard, you've been diligent, you've been putting the effort in, then you're likely to see some benefit coming your way. Some opportunities, some mastery, and the results of mastery manifesting in your life. Now, it's the opposite result if you haven't been working hard, if you haven't been engaged in what you're doing, if you've been slacking off, if you've been like couldn't care less, you get the results of that then. Saturn is the Lord of karma. So this can mean, rewards and promotions, or it could mean public disgrace, downfall, criticism from bosses, reprimands from authority figures. So you get, what goes around comes around here. Some of you, in fact, I'm sure that most people watching this video will be people who are receiving good karma, and you're likely to be offered leadership positions and career opportunities and promotions. Now, if you're somebody who runs your own business, there might be, some sort of chance for you to expand, chance for you to, get a higher position with whatever you're producing or whatever you're offering the world, more recognition. Climbing that ladder is what we're seeing with Saturn going direct here. You will probably also feel somewhat sensitive, especially as Pisces is the sign we're looking at here, sensitive to feedback from the world. So, you might be afraid to put yourself out there because what if people criticize? What if people condemn? And I would encourage you, Gemini, you've got to be bigger than that. You've got to overcome that fear that can self-sabotage your career. Pisces can be self-sabotaging through, and Saturn is the energy of fear. You've got to overcome that. I know social standing becomes very important when Saturn transits through the 10th house, but you've got to put aside the fear of failure and do it anyway. Go for it without limits, without worries, without fears. Now, the other thing that can happen here is that Saturn moving direct can restructure your career. It can also restructure what you desire in terms of worldly recognition. You might have always thought you had to be number 1 on the New York Times bestseller list. And here comes Saturn moving direct through your 10th house, and you realize what's really important is speaking engagements and reaching people personally. And that becomes what you want in terms of recognition. You want to be able to go on a speaking tour and talk to people personally. Couldn't care less whether you're number one on the New York Times bestseller list. So you can have a shift and a change in what you desire for worldly recognition. Your career can also be restructured. For some people, there might even be, now that Saturn's moving direct, there might even be the chance to sort of say goodbye to an old, outworn career that wasn't doing you any favors and welcome in something that feels more suited to you. Now, it's not that Saturn is a planet about having your dreams come true. It's not like that at all. But Saturn is mastery. And if you feel like in the career that you're currently in, you're just twiddling your thumbs, biding your time, that it's not really your field of mastery, then this is perhaps a chance for you to look for something where you do feel like you have mastery, where you do feel like you have a sense of authority about what you're doing, and move into a career of that nature. I would encourage you, Saturn in the 10th house can sort of cause you to, well, cause some people, depending on the nature of your chart, but to forget your loved ones and family. Loved ones and family are seen from the 4th house down here, the opposite of the 10th house. And we can get so focused on career achievements and working hard. Saturn's a planet of working hard for our career, that our loved ones and our family, husbands, wives, children, etc., parents, they take a back seat. Don't forget your family. Don't forget your loved ones over the next 7 months as you work hard on your career and build your career and grow your career. But remember to care for those who love you as well. You will become, with Saturn moving direct here, very clear about what you want to achieve in life. You become more organized about, how you're going about achieving it, and more realistic about how you're achieving it as well. And that can serve a very useful purpose going forward into the future, to be realistic, to be grounded, and to be organized about where you're going. So my Gemini friends, good times ahead in the next 7 months. And the big news is I'm returning to doing personal readings for people over the next 6 months. After that 6-month period, I'm going to be returning to focus on the production of the advanced level of the Royal Stars Academy, my teaching program where I provide like a Bachelor of Arts for people to become proficient in astrology and become certified practicing astrologers. I'm going to be returning to doing that in about 6 months' time. But up until that point, I'm doing readings for anyone who would like a reading. If you've been wanting a reading with me, now is your chance. Head to the readings page at the website link in the description below. Thank you very much, Gemini. All right, now Cancer rising, Cancer sun, and Cancer moon people. Saturn is turning direct this week in the very auspicious and blessed 9th house of your chart. So this can be quite a time of defining the meaning of life and the purpose for your existence. Now, Saturn is going to be direct here for the next 7 months. So this could play out over the next 7 months. But the things that happen now are going to be really sort of funneling you into more meaning, more purpose. And so you might have a few ideas floating around in your head, Cancer. I wouldn't mind trying your hand at sort of, making your own furniture, or you wouldn't mind, maybe playing a musical instrument professionally. Maybe I might turn my hand at, doing fantasy writing. Could be a million different things running around in your mind, but Saturn is going to streamline those things until you hone down in the next 7 months something that you can focus on. Saturn is very focused. Focus on something that's going to give your life some meaning and some purpose and structure. So you become more discriminating, about what it is that you want to do with your life and where you're headed. 9th house, like the sign Sagittarius, actually. The 9th house is very much about future orientation. Where are you going? What are you doing to achieve a certain outcome? So this is a time, like I said, for developing meaning for life and purpose for your existence in the future, going forward. Now, you can become also very discriminating about who you choose to inspire you, who you choose to teach you as well. So maybe you had, reading 20 different books all at once, or listening to 20 different YouTube gurus, and taking a bit from everyone. Now you become more discriminating about the sources of inspiration in your life, and you sort of maybe hone in on 1 or 2 people who become your gurus over the next 7 months and your guides for life. Sometimes when Saturn moves direct in the ninth house, we can become disappointed with our religious or spiritual convictions that we've had maybe for many years, maybe for 30 years. Saturn takes 30 years to do a cycle of the horoscope. We've had a certain belief, or we've put our trust in a certain religion, or certain ethos that we want to align ourselves with. And this Saturn moving direct in the ninth house can say, well, hold up, there's this flaw in that belief system. There's this, hypocrisy in this religious system that I've been adhering to. You start to see, or the Saturn direct pulls away the illusions of your convictions that weren't quite sound. And that can be disconcerting for a lot of people. So you might find that in the next 7 months, that you're disappointed with gurus, disappointed with, certain aspects of your convictions. And your faith might be tested. Now, that can be very difficult to deal with. But if you can push through that and explore new options, open your heart to the new, open your heart to what the universe would like to show you is truth, is real, then you can actually discover a whole new set and restructure and reorganize your belief systems in a way that's going to stand you in good stead for the coming 30-year cycle of Saturn until he's back here again. So try to have a good network of support around you, people who you trust, people whose knowledge and wisdom you can lean on, people who allow you to explore and discover for yourself. I know when I went through this transit, this is Saturn transiting my ninth house, was when I walked away from the Christian upbringing that I'd had and chose a different path. And I've never looked back, to be quite honest. The best thing that ever happened to me, freed me enormously at a soul level to do so. But it did cause a lot of friction with my family, and there was a dissolving, if you like, as well, of the networks and connections and that I'd been a part of in the church community for all my life. So it's not easy, but it is soul liberating. So trust the process. Now, on to a different topic here with Saturn direct over the next 7 months. There might be some difficulties or delays with long distance travel. Or if you travel to other countries, you might experience some blockages or restrictions or problems maybe. So that's not going to be the case for everybody, but if it does happen and you're a Cancer, Sun, Rising or Moon person, then it's likely related to Saturn's direct movement, maybe fully aspecting your ascendant or something that sort of brings some of those Saturn restrictions and boundaries into the travel arena. Also, look, it could manifest that in traveling and being in a faraway place or a faraway country, by doing so, you might be restructuring your belief systems, might be restructuring your ethics and morals, because you've expanded your mind, you've expanded your exposure to different cultures of the world, different belief systems of the world, and you can no longer cling to the old structures and belief systems that you were saying, were it. So there can be some big expansion that happens through traveling, expansion to your soul and your outlook in life. There can also, you might find Saturn here is the planet of mastery, and there can be a desire to be in a masterful position of spirituality, of spiritual leadership or teaching or knowledge. You might want to be the guru, you get disillusioned with the gurus that you've had and you're like, you know what? I can do better than that, and I want to step up and be the master. Saturn is mastery. So some of you might be inclined to want to take that path. Keep your integrity in doing so, and allow the universe to open the doors for you if that's where you feel that you're being called into some sort of guruship, teaching, mastery, leadership type positions. Some of you also in the next 7 months might return to some sort of schooling. Could be some adult learning, could be university, but usually it'll be in order to achieve some sort of structured level of mastery, like a master's degree or a PhD, that sort of thing. So some of you Cancer people, I know of one person who has this opportunity falling in their lap, who's a Cancer person, and that's fully aligning with what's going on here. So you might find with Saturn moving direct now in the ninth house, my Cancer friends, that the opportunity to move into that higher level of intellectual learning comes your way and is made easy for you to attain. You'll still need to work hard. You'll still need to study hard. Saturn is hard work, but it flows easier now that Saturn is direct in your ninth house. And the big news is, my Cancer friends, that I'm returning to doing readings in the next 6 months while Saturn is direct here in Pisces. I've been working on the Royal Stars Academy for about a year now. I did the intermediate level, which is a phenomenally big course. Like basically the Royal Stars Academy is equivalent to a Bachelor of Arts in astrology. And it's a 4-level course. I've done the first 2 levels, and in 6 months' time I'm going to be returning to doing the advanced level of the Royal Stars Academy, and I'll probably stop doing readings at that time to focus exclusively on the creation of the advanced level. So if you've been wanting a reading with me, you've got kind of 6 months to jump on board and to get in the queue, so to speak, because I always have a big waiting list, I'm sorry to say. And now's your chance though. Book in early, get your spot, and have a reading with me. Head to the readings page at the website, link in the description below. And I can't wait to do a reading for you, my friends. All right, thank you, Cancer. Leo rising, Leo sun, Leo moon people. Well, the energy of Saturn moving direct is happening in your 8th house. And the 8th house is such a fascinating house. And Saturn moving direct here brings naturally a fascinating energy. We get in the 8th house a serious rewiring of how we go about achieving our goals. Now, you might say, why is that related to the 8th house? Well, Saturn is mastery in the world. Mastery of a certain, skill set or abilities or business or career. Saturn is mastery. And here in the 8th house, it's about change. It's about being reborn. So we are being reborn with how we master our presence in the world, our social reputation, our skills, our career, and so on. Serious reviewing of how you go about achieving your goals in the world. And you might like to ask yourself in the 8th house, do you manipulate people or circumstances, or do you assert yourself in healthy ways in order to achieve your goals? Saturn's karma. Saturn, when he moves through the 8th house, will expose the hidden side of things. If you've been taking an underhanded approach, climbing all over everybody else to get to the top of the social ladder, if you've been using people, manipulating people, you will get the karma for that. It'll be exposed, you'll be shown for who you really are, and you'll probably meet your downfall. This is the house of crisis. So the crisis comes with your public reputation. If you haven't been, achieving your goals in healthy ways. That said, if you do approach the achievement of your goals with integrity, with fairness, with justice, there is a karmic reward here when Saturn goes direct in the 8th house, reward for your healthy approach to mastery and to climbing the ladder in life. So for some Leos, they're going to get a big reward and a big blessing and a windfall of success in that sense. The other thing is, when Saturn moves direct over the next 7 months in your 8th house, you might find that you're extra sensitive to criticism. It's a very sensitive spot, the 8th house, and Saturn is criticism. So you might find that what was water off a duck's back, 2 months ago, now feels like a bullet to the heart, like, they don't like me, or they said this about me, and now I'm really hurt, So the sensitivity level is amped up when Saturn moves direct in the 8th house. How willing are you, my Leo friends, to deal with any trust issues you've got or control issues? There might be some experiences that unfold now over the next 7 months that cause you to confront trust issues with other people and control issues that you have with other people. So don't be surprised if that manifests. I'm a Leo sun, I can think of a circumstance where I'm going to have to deal with that as it is, I'm not going to go into detail here about the particular thing, but I do need to confront somebody about their behavior and the way they have been sort of using a level of manipulation and control in my life, and tell them to back off. So, you know, we're being called to this with Saturn moving direct, and Saturn can support us in dealing with these topics: trust issues, control issues, issues where we're being manipulated or where we're manipulating others. Saturn can be our support mechanism, but we're going to have to confront them either way. Your individuality might feel very pressured and restricted, and that can be difficult for Leo people. You know, Leo is this big expressive sign. Look at me, here I am. Watch my creativity. I just want to make beauty for the world, you know? Leo energy. And here, when Saturn direct in the 8th house, Saturn can bring things, you know, where there's been no boundaries, Saturn brings things into boundaryness. Not even a word, but I'll make it up. Boundaryness. And so our level of individuality can feel like, you know, we've been corralled. We've been put into the paddock, so to speak, and being contained. And so just forewarned, forearmed, Leo. The objective of Saturn moving through here is to transform our personality, purify our desires, and become more psychologically balanced. So there is a goal to this. It's about grounding ourselves. It's about becoming realistic, and that can help us in our everyday existence in this crazy world we live in. There is an energy also that wants us to release outworn motives and behavior patterns over the next 7 months. It can also be a time when we are learning sexual lessons with how to master our sexual self and our sexual response and our sexual satisfaction. For many people, that's a needed discipline to enter into, and Saturn can be your best friend with that while he moves direct here. There's also sexual karma, I might add, as well. So a focus on our sexual passions now, deliberate use of sexuality in terms of your own personal growth and self-mastery, and discovering deeper realms of who you are sexually. So that is, as an adult, and I'm sharing with other adults here, this is not for children, obviously, what I'm talking about here, but it's an important component of our lives as adults that can help us to, you know, blossom fully into our capacity. Some people with Saturn moving direct in the 8th house might choose sexual celibacy. That might be part of their growth paradigm. It might be for life, it might be for the next 30 years, or it might just be for the duration of Saturn in the 8th house that you choose to, you know, experience that component of your sexuality as well. What is it like to be celibate and whole unto myself? There is also, so I've talked about some of the benefits and the growth and the mastery of your sexual self here. I want to just mention that for some people, particularly those with Saturn in a very debilitated and, you know, unstrengthened position in their chart, some people might find that there's difficult sexual experiences now. You know, if you're in a sexual relationship and it's been a struggle, things might get worse before they get better. So just heads up on that one. Saturn is wanting you to create a deeper foundation, a stronger foundation going forward, and he might make you confront the difficulties, you know, head on through having problems, okay? We become, in this house of death, conscious of our mortality when Saturn moves direct here. And by that I mean any deaths that occur in your life now will be felt quite deeply, quite profoundly, whether that's the death of a pet, you know, the death of a tree in your garden or something, or whether it's the death of a person in your life. Any death experiences are going to be felt very, very deeply while Saturn's moving direct through the 8th house. You might also find that your interest, my Leo friends, in the occult increases. You know, I work with the occult. Occult just means anything that is hidden, anything that's not mainstream. And obviously astrology is that, and I work with the occult. And so I'm fully expecting, as a Leo sun person, that I'm going to do more deep dives into understanding at greater depth this ancient wisdom, this ancient knowledge. I'm quite looking forward to that. Just a couple of last things I want to talk about for that are applicable while Saturn's moving direct in your 8th house for the next 7 months. There might be sort of an experience of blockage from partners. financially. So, maybe your partner is making lots of money, but you, for some reason or another, are not able to utilize that money as their partner. There could be a blockage with inheritance. You might receive an inheritance, but you can't actually access it until Saturn is out of Pisces or something like that. So it's coming, but you've got to wait. Saturn is being patient. Saturn is enduring. There's also maybe some issues with taxes and wills. Get your financial affairs in order as soon as possible. Saturn wants you to be in integrity with your tax, with your relationship with, the government authorities in terms of money, and with any wills or legacies that you want to leave. Get it all sorted now. I would also encourage you, and look, not everybody can do this. We need loans. We need sometimes to borrow money, but don't be willy-nilly about it. Be serious and responsible, Saturn energy, about the loans that you undertake. Really, house loan would probably be, or car loan maybe, the only loans that you might want to get, serious about. If you're looking at a business loan, I wouldn't do it while Saturn is in the 8th house. Every circumstance is different. Every chart is different. I do realize that, but I'd be more inclined to wait if I could until Saturn's out of the 8th house. But it's up to you, and get a reading from an astrologer so that you know where you stand financially, personally. Saturn here encourages you, but when he's going direct, to update your wills, also to not take financial risks, and try to avoid borrowing money from friends and family, etc., where possible as well. Try and be independent financially with Saturn moving direct in the 8th house. So that's really what I wanted to mention, my beautiful Leo friends. The big news I want to conclude with is that I'm returning to doing readings, personal readings, for the next 6 months. After that, I'm going to focus on creating the advanced level of the Royal Stars Academy, my Bachelor of Arts that I teach in astrology. So you can join me there if you'd like to. But if you've been wanting a reading with me, now's your big chance. Head to the readings page in the description below and book in your reading with me. Jump in the queue. I'm usually booked out quite a long way, but now's your time to jump on in and get ready for a reading. All right, thank you, Leo. Virgo rising, Virgo sun, and Virgo moon people. Well, the energy of Saturn moving direct is occurring in the 7th house, your 7th house. So what does this then mean for you? Well, basically the next 7 months while Saturn is here is going to be all about you taking responsibility for your love life, really taking ownership of your situation with other people relationally, in terms of romance, but also business partnerships and other connections with clients and so forth as well. Relationships become the primary focus during this Saturn direct transit. So any difficulties that you've got in relationships, they are laid bare now, and they come to the surface, and they're asking you to address them and to restructure them and to make any changes that need making. Saturn wants you to build a strong foundation going forward into the future for the next 30 years as he transits around the horoscope before he comes back to the 7th house. So now's the time. So any easygoing type relationships that you're in that are pretty light and easy, they might get more serious and more committed now. That's one way that Saturn can restructure things. If you've just had a boyfriend-girlfriend kind of relationships, all been nice and happy, you might suddenly find that someone's proposing to you, or asking you to move in and get more, committed. What's wrong with that? Relationships that are going nowhere, you're just sort of floating along and you're not really invested and it's just like, this will do. Well, they're going to wind up and conclude, because Saturn does not want anything that's not serious. Saturn is serious and mature here in the 7th house. So relationships that aren't serious will likely conclude. But Saturn is the Lord of karma. And there might be some karmic lessons that you're being invited to explore now with regard to love. And some of you may even meet some karmic relationship that feels predestined, that, you know, the universe was pulling the strings for. It might be somebody from a past life. It might be somebody that, you know, maybe your soul hasn't tangoed with for many, many lifetimes, but it's a part of the destiny. Karma is at play. Some people, though, relationships aside, Saturn can be a bit reclusive. Saturn can be an isolated kind of planet. I mean, he's the furthest out visible planet from the sun. So he's far away. And you know, there are connections to isolation and loneliness. So for some people, they might actively choose that. Now, you know, it's not so much that it's forced upon you here. Saturn, in going direct in this 7th house, might cause you to choose that. It might feel burdensome to go out and meet new people and try and make a relationship. You might feel that there are limited opportunities to do so, so you'd rather just be by yourself. That can also be one of the outcomes of Saturn going direct in the 7th house. If you're involved in an extramarital affair, if you're being secretive, you know, Pisces energy, you know, shadow side of Pisces in the 7th house, you know, if you're involved in some kind of secret affair, or, you know, keeping things hidden from your partner or your spouse or your family or something like that, rest assured, Saturn going direct in the 7th house tends to expose those things, tends to cause you to be found out. You can't hide it any longer. Okay, forewarned, forearmed there. Single people who are looking for love might actually encounter Saturn in the 7th house. Doesn't, you know, block or restrict relationships, or cause them not to manifest. It can, but you might encounter a relationship with an older person, Saturn type energy, or a relationship that's going to last for the long term. A very long enduring kind of relationship can manifest when Saturn transits the 7th house, or a very serious relationship, not just a, you know, one night stand kind of thing, something that you feel really committed to, really invested in. So if you're single, that can manifest too. Now, some people will also get very realistic about relationships. And, you know, Pisces here can tend to be very fanciful. Like, you're Virgo rising, it means Pisces is your 7th house. You can be very fanciful about lovers, about relationships. Your expectations are idealistic. Well, here comes Saturn into the 7th house saying, hey guys, let's get grounded. Let's get realistic. Let's not be pie in the sky, fanciful, fairy tale, Prince Charming, you know, princess kind of BS. Let's get real. Saturn moving through the 7th houses over the next 7 months direct is going to cause you to get real and honest about relationships. Some love experiences that unfold during the next 7 months are going to be coming into your life to highlight these unrealistic expectations and false concepts. Now, Virgo, I have to say, that is not fun. When the rug's pulled out from under us, or the wool's pulled off our eyes, and we see clearly, oh my God, I thought this person was Prince Charming, but really they're a big slob, you know? That is the kind of thing that Saturn does, and it can be confronting. So be prepared. That's another thing that can manifest. Some of you Virgo people might encounter old lovers, people coming back from the past in the next 7 months. You know, you thought, you know, the relationship was done and dusted. Lo and behold, there they are again on your doorstep. Okay? And look, when Saturn crosses your descendant degree, it's going to be moving through the first, you know, 15 to 20 degrees of the sign of Pisces, which will be, for some of you, your descendant degree. Once Saturn crosses that descendant degree and moves into the upper hemisphere of your chart, you might experience a stronger desire for more recognition and to be out in public. And that might last for the next 14 years, where you're like, you just look at me, here I am. You know, even if you're a shy-ish kind of person, Virgo, Saturn moving into this realm of the chart might put you out there more. And you'll probably notice that after Saturn crosses your descendant. So Virgo, that's really what is coming up for you, and some things you might expect in the next 7 months of Saturn direct in your 7th house. But the big news I want to share with you is that I'm returning to doing readings, and I'll be doing them over the next 6 months. before I go back to focusing on the next level of the Royal Stars Academy, the Bachelor of Arts that I offer people, I teach people in astrology. So if you want to find out more about the Royal Stars Academy, the link's in the description below. But if you've also been wanting a reading with me, the link is also in the description below. Now is your big chance. Book in, join the queue, get a reading with me. I can't wait to explore your chart for you, Virgo. Thank you. Now, Libra, haven't you had a busy couple of months, Libra? With eclipses there and sun transiting your sign, etc. Libra, we are looking this week at Saturn moving direct, and he's moving direct this week in your 6th house. This is going to, for the next 7 months, put an emphasis on your daily work. So you're going to be very focused on working hard, production schedules, the things that pay the bills. It's not about climbing the career ladder and getting the top job, the CEO and all that. It's about doing the mundane, ordinary, everyday, hard yards, the emphasis on your daily work. If you are an employer, Saturn moving direct in the 6th house can sometimes bring problems or difficulties with employees. For those of you who are employees, there can be difficulties with workmates. Now, this is not happening just because Saturn wants to be a pain in the ass. It is happening because things need refining, things need restructuring with regard to your employees, with regard to the way you relate to your workmates and the dynamics of your work situation. So address those things and make changes when necessary, Libra. We do tend to work a lot harder when Saturn is transiting the 6th house. And I've seen people with Saturn in the 6th house in their natal chart who are just born workers. They are get in there, they're not afraid to get their hands dirty, they do the hard yards. And that's what's being expected of you while Saturn transits here for the next 7 months direct. You might find that you're carrying a heavier load of responsibilities and duties than you ordinarily might, Libra. Heads up on that one. Also, your everyday work can feel a bit tedious and unsatisfying. I mean, Libra, we love the glamorous, we love the refined, the cultured, the sophisticated, high-end kind of stuff. And here, Saturn's saying, get to it, get down and dirty, clean that toilet, do that, cook that dinner. And everyday work can feel tedious and unsatisfying. But acceptance, as with all Saturn transits, acceptance is the key. Weigh things up with a grounded level-headedness, and if you're looking at your job and you're saying, I am so over this tedious, unsatisfying job, weigh things up, realistically. Should you quit now and look for better opportunities? Or is this simply a running away from duties and responsibilities? Do weigh up with, realism. And if you need advice, get advice from somebody who is a grounded, realistic type of person. But the purpose of this transit is to grow our patience as we deal with life's struggles and life's issues, So we're going to become, out of the end of this transit, we're going to be more, as I said, patient, but we're also going to have a greater capacity to just deal with the everyday, ordinary things of life. Be more mature about them, be more dutiful about them, be more responsible about them, and carry our burdens. Now, the 6th house also has to do with health and diet and exercise, and these become important when Saturn goes direct here. You're going to need to take full responsibility for your own well-being now, and the habits that you have that are affecting your well-being. So there might be some restructuring necessary with diet, with health, with exercise. It is a good time to make those changes. It's also a good time with Saturn moving direct here to organize and restructure your daily routine as well. So if you need to make changes to how you're juggling everything in your life and managing, the day-to-day tasks, now's the time to review it and make changes with Saturn going direct here. It's as simple as that, fairly straightforward. Saturn in the 6th house is not too, earth-shattering, my friends, but it's certainly an opportunity to make some changes that are going to support you for the next 30 years in the everyday life that you're living. But the big news is, Libra, I'm returning to doing readings. Over the next 6 months, I'm going to be doing readings again for interested clients. And after that, I'm going to be focusing my attention on the next level, producing the next level of the Royal Stars Academy. But I wanted to take some time to do readings again so I don't become too rusty with being able to read people's charts and provide that service. So if you've been wanting a reading with me, now is your big chance. Head to the readings page at the website link in the description below. There's also a link to the Royal Stars Academy if you want to find out about that Bachelor of Arts in Astrology that I actually offer people. So check it out and jump in line. And unfortunately, there usually is a bit of a wait list when people order readings from me. But jump in line, get your reading, and I can't wait to explore your chart for you. Thanks, Libra. All right, Scorpio rising, Scorpio sun, and Scorpio moon people. Well, Saturn is changing from retrograde to direct in your 5th house. And what does this mean for you? Well, it's a really good time to learn about what differentiates you from other people. Your experiences and the mindset that you have are really going to lead you to sort of understand your own individuality at this time. So it's a great time for, gaining more self-knowledge through introspection, through exploring your own creative self. Saturn's going to support you in doing that over the next 7 months of his direct transit. If you're in a career that has to do with the arts or performance or creativity, this can be a time when you achieve a sense of mastery, where you produce some of your best work or attain a new level of status in your work, and maybe even have a rise in public recognition with your work. But that's if you work in careers that are 5th house related, like I said. You will feel more serious. Saturn is to be mature. Saturn is to be serious and dutiful. You'll feel more serious about your creative work now, and you'll be more willing to work hard on mastering your craft, on producing whatever it is that you're producing that has a long-lasting success capacity. So the ability to be enduring and highly recognized. Really great for people working in those 5th house fields. One thing I would say though is just be conscious about being, a workaholic when it comes to your creativity. You can really take things too far and get stressed and burnt out. So take time for rest, take time for relaxation, and enjoy your creative process, my friends. Now, Saturn is a planet of karma. And so here in the house of our love life and our romantic life, we explore the karmic deservability of the love that's in our lives. We have a strong sense of what we deserve romantically, and what we do not. And because Saturn is a planet of discernment, we're very conscious of not settling for what we don't deserve. So if somebody, boyfriend, girlfriend, is not treating you right, if you're not getting the romantic love that you actually want, you're going to be more willing to say, enough's enough, I'm not doing this anymore, So there can be some fated and karmic experiences with love and dating. You might go out on a date, you might have a romantic tete-a-tete with somebody. It's actually something from your past coming up, maybe an old attitude within you that needs to be explored, that this relationship is triggering. Could also be an actual person that you have tangoed with in a previous incarnation that's coming back into your life, and you're revisiting karmically in that way, where perhaps you owe something to them or they owe something to you, and this is the chance to rectify that. The other thing is that Saturn here in the 5th house can make you feel very vulnerable regarding romance. You feel a bit susceptible, a bit sensitive to your romantic experiences. But rest assured, this is just part of the karmic process of purifying and getting the results of what's gone before. That's karma, to get the reward, for better or worse, for the way you've behaved or the romantic interactions that you've had in the past. Sometimes when Saturn transits the 5th house, we can go into pessimistic mode. We feel unloved. We feel unappreciated. Now, I have Saturn in the 5th house in my natal chart, and certainly in the early part of my primary school, secondary school, and perhaps early 20s, I felt very unlovable. I don't know why, but it was the mindset, it was the energy and the mindset that I had, that I'm not worthy. No one could ever love me. All the girls around me are more intelligent, more beautiful, more attractive. The guys like them better than me. And this was just the mindset I had. It wasn't actually the truth. When I look back and reflect on my life, I was like, oh my goodness, how wrong was I? Look at what I was receiving in the physical realm. Like what was going on in the physical realm was completely different to the mindset that I had. So keep that in mind, friends. It is a mindset that Saturn can be inflicting upon you. Feeling that you're unlovable, feeling nobody loves me, feeling I'm so lonely, I'm not appreciated, nobody sees me. This is a mindset. Don't buy into it, even though Saturn is going to be like sending those negative thoughts through. Okay? You can choose to redirect that energy. You can choose to take your thoughts in a different direction. Okay? Now, this is also direct. Saturn direct here can bring struggles with energy and drive and confidence. So you can be producing wonderful work, but getting out of bed in the morning can feel really, really hard to do. You're just like, what's the purpose? What's the point? Confidence can be low, as I've already alluded to. Okay, so keep my voice in mind over the next 7 months. If you're having a low confidence day, just hear Kesenya saying, this is just a mindset. It's not a reality, okay? Do something to make yourself feel good, make yourself feel better, make yourself, feel like you're worthy and love yourself as much as you can. This is actually serving a purpose, though. Saturn moving through here is restructuring any pride that we have. It's restructuring your sense of self-worth and any self-respect. It's a recalibration. So, forewarned, forearmed, deal with it with consciousness, and you'll be able to come out the other side, with your head held high, basically. The other thing I would just say, Saturn moving through the 5th house, and this is always a disappointment to me, it's not a good position for any risk-taking ventures, gambling, lotteries, that kind of thing. Saturn can just hold those things back and sort of make those things just an impossibility for you. So, save your money. It's better to spend it on a coffee than a Tats Lotto ticket while Saturn's direct moving through your 5th house, guys. It might feel to you like there's a blockage on luck, 5th house is luck, in your life. You might feel like you need to work hard to earn your stripes and get what you deserve. Saturn can bring it about eventually, but you have to be patient and work hard in the meantime. So just note that can be an energy of this transit as well. I'd also check in on your children regularly, my friends, because they might be experiencing, the house of our children, they might be experiencing difficulties now. And, it mightn't be you that's experiencing these Saturnian influences, it might be your kids. Make sure that they are doing okay mentally, emotionally, physically, and be there for them. Give them lots of rest and relaxation and fun times as much as you're able to. Saturn in the 5th house can bring, for some women, and it really depends on the structure of your natal chart, but some women might have unwanted pregnancies while Saturn is moving here. Okay, direct, so keep that in mind. Also, the 5th house is connected to the heart, and I would encourage you to keep your heart healthy during Saturn's direct transit here by doing moderate cardio, eating healthy, avoiding anything that could adversely affect your heart health, You know what I'm talking about. You know what to do. And Saturn here in the realm of the heart, it's really an imperative that you take care of yourself in that way. Finally, just back on the love affair thing before I wrap things up for Scorpio people. Some of you might find that you are, with Saturn direct, you are prone to or have opportunity for love affairs with older people or people in positions of authority or people who are more mature than you in some way. So that can also be a manifestation of this energy. But the big news is, my friends, I'm returning to doing personal readings for clients over the next 6 months, after which I'm going to turn my focus on producing the next level of the Royal Stars Academy, my Bachelor of Arts. Sorry, guys. It's not a Bachelor of Arts. It's a Bachelor of Arts in astrology that I teach. So If you are, if you've been wanting a reading with me, now is your big chance. Head to the link in the description below to book your reading with me. I can't wait to explore your chart for you. And if you would like to do a Bachelor of Arts with me at the Royal Stars Academy, the link to that is also in the description below. Check it out. It's not as horrible as that title might suggest. Thank you, my beautiful Scorpio friends. Sagittarius rising, sun or moon people. Well, firstly, you're taking a bit of a walk there, so I'm going to settle you down a bit. But we're looking this week at Saturn moving direct for the first time in 5 months in your 4th house. What does this mean? And he's going to be direct for the next 7 months here. So this is where you are going to be very able to build a foundation for future success and achievement, because 4th house is a foundational house. It's the bottom of the horoscope. It's where we build a solid foundation, especially with Saturn here. Wonderful to have Saturn direct in the 4th house. So you're going to be able to build a solid emotional foundation for your future. You're going to be able to build a solid foundation for a home life or a domestic life that feels good for you. You're going to be able to build a solid foundation for feeling a sense of family and a sense of community and a sense of belonging. How wonderful, Sagittarius. This is a great transit in that regard. Now, Saturn is not a quick, rushed energy. He's slow and he requires concentrated efforts to build your stability in the material world. So that's what's going to be happening. It's not a big mad rush and then next week suddenly you've got a brand new house and you've got a new community that you're involved in. No, it's going to be sustained hard work that take you to that place, that take you to that realm. It's not really the best transit for gainfulness. It's not a great transit for promotion or recognition out there in the world, in the public realm. It's more about building for the future, building the foundations that are going to be a blessing for you going forward, probably for the next 30 years as Saturn does a full circuit of the horoscope. It is a good transit for introspection and an inner restructuring of your emotional foundation, making you more resilient, making you more stoic, making you more emotionally strong to handle the waves of life out on the stormy sea. You'll also be, with Saturn transiting the 4th house in a direct motion for the next 7 months, you'll probably be reassessing where you live. Is this really fulfilling all your needs? Do you have what you need to live a satisfying life in the place where you're currently residing? And if the answer is no, then many of you might move, change a place of living to somewhere that's more suited to your needs and your desires for a fulfilled lifestyle. So that can be on the cards too. And if you do move, it's probably going to be, it's not so much, I'm going to move for fun, It's going to be more likely to be, I need to move out of a feeling of duty or obligation. Or I need to move to create greater safety or security. Or I need to move to create a solid base for my future. So you might move for to go and study a PhD somewhere, or you might move for a better job or something that's going to give you a better income so that you can build a better future and have a more materially stable future. So moving is a much more serious business when Saturn moves through the 4th house. But moving does occur, changing and restructuring your place of living does occur, but usually with a serious approach. Now, working on personal and intimate concerns is something that Saturn likes to do in the 4th house, and you're going to do that to safeguard your peacefulness in life, your future happiness in life. So, it's a time for working on the inner self, like I said, and becoming resilient so that you're solid for the future. You might also be very sensitive to family and domestic issues that come up now. Maybe, your mum calls you, she's all upset about something, and ordinarily you'd be like, oh, mum, just deal with it, it's going to be okay. But this time, when Saturn's direct in this house, it's like, oh my goodness, mum, that's so terrible, and what are we going to do? And, you just really, not reactive, but sensitized to the feelings in your family, to the lifestyle that you're living. You're much more attuned and responsive. You can also have a lot more responsibilities when Saturn moves through the 4th house. Responsibilities with parents, responsibilities as a parent. This is also the house of the mother, generally speaking, so you can have a lot more responsibilities with your mother and with your mother's health now that Saturn's direct in this realm of the chart. So get in touch with your parents, check in regularly, make sure they're doing okay, your extended family, make sure that everything's okay. Also, the final thing I want to mention here, Sagittarius, is that this is a transit that can cause you to get in touch with early childhood memories now. You'll be remembering. Saturn is memory. Saturn is the past, what happened long ago. And here in the 4th house, especially emotionally based memories, you emotionally remember that time you fell off your bike and, how embarrassed you were and how much your knee hurt. And you get in touch with that memory, you relive it, you deal with it, you process it, maybe you let it go now. So for a lot of us, the next 7 months is going to be a time when we are getting back in touch with those old memories, and also as a result of that, taking responsibility for who you are now as a result of the way you were brought up and the childhood that you experienced. So look, without getting too deep into psychology, for many people they've had traumatic childhoods. You might be confronted with some of those traumatic memories so that you will take responsibility for who you are now as a result of those things and release them and purge them so that you can move on from those things now. Some of you may have had really beautiful childhoods. You might be getting in touch with those memories and of childhood and your upbringing, and able to sort of offer a sense of gratitude to the universe for what you experienced. And then maybe that could lead you, in Saturn in the sign of Pisces, to showing compassion to those who did not experience such things in their upbringing. Offering compassion, offering love. Saturn asks you to take a sense of responsibility regarding your childhood experiences and your memories now. And that can mean, like I've just said, owning who you are in this day and age because you have experienced what you experienced and letting go of those old heartbreaks, or realizing how blessed you were and taking responsibility to show compassion for those who have not had such blessings in their life. So that's really the gist, Sagittarius, of this transit of Saturn through the 4th house for the next 7 months in a direct motion. But the big news I want to share with you is that I am returning to doing readings, personal readings for clients. I'll be doing them for about the next 6 months, after which I'm going to focus again on the next level I'm producing for the Royal Stars Academy, my Bachelor of Arts, where I teach astrology. So if you've been wanting a reading with me, now's your big chance. Head to the readings page at the website. The link's in the description below. Book in, join the queue. Unfortunately, there's usually a bit of a waiting list for my readings, but join the queue. Come and let me do a reading for you. Let me analyze your chart and help you with the journey of your life. And if you're interested in the Royal Stars Academy, the link is also in the description below for that as well. Can't wait to explore your charts, my friends. Thank you, not Capricorn, Sagittarius. Now we're moving to Capricorn. Capricorn rising, Capricorn sun, and Capricorn moon. People, you can look at all three energies. Your sun, moon, and rising sign. Well, the energy of Saturn, your ruling planet, Capricorn, moving direct, is happening for you in Pisces, your 3rd house. So this next 7 months, while Saturn is direct here, is going to be taking you on a deep dive into knowledge and wisdom and understanding that's going to better your existence. It's going to give you a more grounded, realistic view on the world. Okay? Saturn in the 3rd house is serious thinking, deep thinking, less frivolity and buoyancy in your thought life. Now, depending on the placement of your natal Saturn, it can manifest in a couple of ways. You are just serious about life and realistic and grounded about life. That's usually if you've got a good Saturn placement. If your Saturn's a bit compromised in its natal placement, you need to watch out for anxiety, depression, worry, over concern. Make sure that you have time for fun and enjoyment and pleasure and delight where you can. It doesn't have to, it's a very weighty energy, Saturn direct in the third house. So structure into your life times to watch a comedy movie or, hang out with friends and enjoy just nitter-natter chatter and conversation that's quite frivolous, just to keep your mental sphere buoyant rather than weighted down by Saturn's energy. Saturn in the third house can also bring duties and responsibilities with your siblings as well when Saturn's direct here. So you might get a call from a sibling in the next 7 months, and they're wanting a serious discussion. Things are heavy, things are hard, and they're perhaps reaching out to you, or they want to sort out some serious issues with you or something like that. You can also, Capricorn, be much more busy with written material. Just hard work. Saturn is hard work, and you're working hard to write articles, blogs, social media posts, letters, emails. And usually these will be the kind of things, not sort of happy, joyful marketing campaigns or anything like that. Usually these are going to be more serious communications that you need to undertake, the writing to the government about a certain issue that you're concerned about, or posting about a problem that you've had, or criticizing, maybe writing an article of critiquing something, that kind of thing. Saturnian type writing, business writing, heavy, serious topics, that kind of stuff. Another thing that happens when Saturn is moving direct in the third house is that we tend to examine our life in a more objective way. Like I said, we have more realistic thinking, but we also turn that realistic thinking into an analysis of the life we're living. And so we look at the life we're living, we look at the social circles we're interacting in, the friendships that we have, and we make a serious assessment of our life. Now, if you happen to work in third house fields like education, or if you have a small business, if you're in creative advertising or sales, you might find that things feel a bit burdened or blocked in those career fields just because of the nature of Saturn. It's not an easy place for Saturn to be in the third house, I have to say. So what can we do to sort of cope with this better? You might want to sort of devote a little bit of time each day to reading some sort of serious book and channel the energy into some academic reading, or reading about, it could be anything from financial, economics to business matters to, Stephen Covey's, 7 laws or whatever, looking at rules for living, looking at business strategies, that kind of serious reading. I would give a little bit of time each day to doing that, so that you can direct that Saturn energy into something that doesn't feel too yucky, Also breath work. This is the house of breathing and the lungs. So, start a regimen of breathing exercises, breath work, meditation and relaxation techniques, because sometimes with Saturn moving direct here, the lungs and nervous system can be more vulnerable. I would also suggest that this is a good time to start a meditation practice, because Saturn allows you to focus more, and this is the house of the mind. So, you can focus your mind more and sort of use this energy to learn to control your mind more, and work on overcoming that sort of anxious side of things, and work on sort of controlling the path of your thoughts more while Saturn is here. That's really it in a nutshell, my beautiful Capricorn friends. But the big news I want to share with you is that I'm returning to doing readings for the next 6 months. After that, I'm going to go back to focusing my attention on producing the Royal Stars Academy. I have the advanced level and the professional level that I want to put together. But for the next 6 months, to keep myself from going rusty, I'm doing personal readings for clients. So if you've been wanting a reading with me, now's your big chance. Head to the readings page at the website, links in the description below. Also, if you're interested in the Royal Stars Academy, the link's in the description below. Come and do a Bachelor of Arts in Astrology with me. But yep, check it out. I can't wait to explore your chart for you and see what we find there. Thank you, Capricorn. Aquarius, thank you so much, my Aquarian friends, for waiting until last. Very patient of you, I must say. So, my Aquarian friends, the energy of your co-ruler, which is Saturn, you're ruled by Saturn and Uranus. The energy of your co-ruler, Saturn, is being felt in the second house where Saturn is turning direct this week on the 4th of November, and he's going to be direct for the next 7 months. So what does it mean when we have a Saturn in direct motion in the second house? Well, we start to analyze what we're worth and what we deserve. Saturn makes us question this, and this is for the next couple of years actually. We start to weigh up what we deserve. Are we getting what we deserve? Are we getting our just rewards? We can also find that life becomes more outwardly directed than self-analytical when Saturn moves through the second house. So we are, looking at our material circumstances and our material position and our social status now. Big focus on financial matters, big focus on material responsibilities. How are we meeting our expenses? How are we making money? We're analyzing this and perhaps looking at ways to restructure those things in our life. There's a real quest for financial security when Saturn is moving direct through the second house. So you're going to be, in some way, through the circumstances of your life, very focused on those things. Saturn is realistic too and grounded. So you're going to realistically see the connection between your self-worth and the wealth that you are able to manifest. If you don't think you're worthy, then it's harder to manifest the wealth that you would like. So you can see that they're connected, that the two are intertwined, and you can, in that case, start to make changes to how you value yourself and how worthy you think you are, so that your material circumstances respond. Saturn enables you to see things clearly and take action in that way and work hard to making those changes. Now, in some cases, your income might be restricted or it might be capped. There's boundaries put in place now where maybe there haven't been as many boundaries before. And when we find that things are blocked or restricted that way, it might be, frustrating for a start. So forewarned, forearmed there. But it can also make you question your worth, question your value. You locked into a certain salary. You're like, I'm worth more than this, and you start applying for other jobs thinking, I'm going to get a better salary, but it doesn't manifest, and that you start to question. You start to say, well, hang on, what's going on here? Why have I got this sort of brass ceiling that I can't break through? And you start to weigh things up and look at your worth, look at your value, look at worthiness, I guess. Now, that is going to be the case for some people, depending on the structure of Saturn in your natal chart. But some people who have a really brilliant Saturn in their natal chart, some people make more money than ever when Saturn transits direct through their second house. And of course, this is also associated with their feelings of worthiness, their confidence, and their outright willingness to work hard. Saturn is hard work. Let's just say, Aquarius, if you've been working hard, putting in, for years, you might have been really like toting that barge and lifting that bale, as the old song says, then you can get the karmic reward for that when Saturn moves through the house of resources and money. But if you've been sort of like just floating along thinking, I'll just lean on, mum and dad's resources, or I don't have to work so hard, I'm happy to just fart my way through life, then Saturn can really call you to task. It's karmic, Saturn's transit. So some people can make a lot of money now. Some people might find that they are called to task, okay? People who are by nature indulgent, they might suffer from debts or feelings of lack when Saturn is direct through the second house. But financial responsibility and maturity is essential. Saturn wants to teach you how to manage resources wisely and well, to master the management of resources. So take time to make a budget, stick to it, learn from it, and be mature with how you manage the physical realm, the physical blessings the gods have given you. It's not really a good energy for risk-taking, gambling, get-rich-quick schemes. They don't tend to work when Saturn's moving direct. They might have worked at other times in your life, Aquarius, but they won't work while Saturn is moving through the second house. It's much more, Saturn in the second house by transit is much more about reward for effort. So put in the work, put in the hard yards, and see the blessings come in from that. And it won't be blessings overnight. It'll be results that come over time and through perseverance and through endurance, as is the nature of Saturn. So just to conclude, Aquarius, the big news I want to share with you is that I am returning to doing readings for the next 6 months, for the duration of Saturn going direct in your second house. And after that, I'm going to be stopping readings and going back to producing the next couple of levels of the Royal Stars Academy. So if you've been wanting a reading with me, now is your big chance. Head to the readings page at the website, links in the description below, and get a reading with me. I can't wait to read your chart for you. Also, if you've been wanting to study and get a Bachelor of Arts essentially in astrology with me, check out the Royal Stars Academy. The link's also in the description below. Well, that's it in the roundup for this week, my friends. Thank you for journeying through the horoscope with me. I'll be back next week with another Astro Weather Report. Until then, be safe, be happy, be well.